With SIF, you can broadcast events. Let's say you got a student, his name has changed. The publisher over here knows, okay, student name has changed. He doesn't care who needs to know over here. All it says, okay, I've got a change event for that student, send it to the SIS. That's all that app needs to know. The SIS then knows which other agents are interested in student personal changes. And the SIS will send it to all of them. Here are the 3 event types. What data do you have to give in each event? If it's an add event, that means add a new student. You have to provide all the mandatory fields the SIF states for that object, which in student personal generally I think is a SIF ref ID, local ID, and name. It's very little, but at least that you have to give. All mandatory fields. With a change event, you give what you know has changed. You can give more if you want to, but that's one way. You do not have to provide the mandatory elements. So in case the name has changed, you don't have to give the local ID, even though that's a mandatory field. You can only give the name. What you theoretically should give, even though SIF doesn't state it so specifically, is the unique ID of that student as well. Otherwise, how does the other system know to which student that applies, which is generally the ref ID? So pretty much the ref ID is always required, even in a change event, with the data that has changed. Request response. That's a much more interesting setup. You see, I've written there point-to-point TCP. It's not quite true point-to-point because, as you remember, the agent doesn't talk to that agent, so it does not know anything about that agent here. And it's completely asynchronous. On the point-to-point here, in context of SIF, I mean, it starts here. The agent wants data. Give me all students of that school. Then goes across to the SIS, say, hey, who has that data? I don't care, but whoever has it has to tell me. The SIS will then transfer that query to the appropriate agent. They will query the data, gets a result back, and it will only go to that guy. It will not go to that guy, and it won't go to that guy because they haven't asked for it. That's what I understand, and point to point. It will go back to the one who asks for it, not to everyone, unlike the event which is broadcast to everyone. And the request response is initiated by that guy here, and not by the publishing side. It's completely asynchronous. So you might send a SIF query here. It's not guaranteed that that thing goes and comes straight back. It might come back tomorrow. If that guy here is a pull agent, only checks every hour, that's at least an hour before he will get the message, SIF query, or no, sorry, the most, depends when he checks it. So it might take whatever time before you get the response. Be aware of that. A few things I've all mentioned, a bit summarized here. An event, the other thing is in an event you can only send one object in an event. One student personal. The next one is another message. The next one is another message. In a response, you can package up many students in one message. Now consider again how the handshaking works when you talk to the SIS. Here's a message. Yep, got it. Here is, yep, got it. Here is, yep, got it. Send 500,000 messages. It's going to take a while. There's a lot of communication go forward and back. And it's all small packages being sent. Request response can package any number of messages up to a given size, and it's defined in a configuration file what size the buffer is. Up to that buffer size, you package as many messages in there as you can. Going back, for example, attendance rates, we have seen in a 32K buffer, we can package about 70 of those messages. So that saves a lot of communication with acknowledgement for, and it's a lot faster transmitting the messages across. When you talk 500,000 messages, you will notice the difference. Pretty much event is just not going to work. Or it might take days.